Greetings, everyone. I'm Angelo Robles. The Detroit Paradox. In 1960, Detroit was the richest city in America. 20 years later, it was collapsing. A few years ago, in my conversation with my friend Adam Robinson, one of the most brilliant strategic thinkers that I know, he shared an idea that really has haunted me ever since. He called it the Detroit Paradox. When success becomes the very thing that kills you. That conversation changed how I see everything. And today, I want to share with you what I've learned, because right now, I'm seeing this pattern everywhere in Fortune 500 companies, in sovereign nations, and especially in family offices, including those managing generational wealth. We'll call this section 1. The mechanism. The paradox kind of works in 3 stages. Stage 1, success creates resources. Detroit had money, market share, massive political power. Everything was working. But stage 2, resources create insulation, layers of bureaucracy, comfortable assumptions, systems designed really to protect what you have, not to see what's coming. Stage 3, insulation creates blindness. When Toyota entered with better cars at lower prices, Detroit's response wasn't adaptation, it was simply denial, lobbying, doubling down on what used to work. They were prisoners kind of their own competence. So here's the key insight. The metrics looked great right up until, well, they didn't. Market share was strong, revenue was up, the buildings were full, but underneath the foundation, you know what? It was rotting. Section 2. The 3 warning signals. So how do you spot these problems before they're too late? What I call the Detroit Paradox. Signal 1, declining curiosity. When your organization stops asking uncomfortable questions, when everyone in the room agrees, when dissent is treated as disloyalty, that's not harmony. That is the beginning of the end. Signal 2, metrics replace judgment. Detroit did measure everything, production efficiency, union contracts, market share, but they stopped seeing the customer. They stopped feeling the product. When you manage the dashboard instead of reality, you're already dying. And signal number 3, the rhetoric of inevitability. We're too big to fail. We've been here for 50 years. Our brand is unshakable. The moment you hear certainty about the future, someone else is already writing it. They are writing it without you. What I call section 3. It's happening now. This isn't just history. Look around. Higher education, Ivy League endowments have never been bigger. Applications have never been higher. Yet the value of that proposition is collapsing. Student debt is somewhat unsustainable. Employers are dropping degree requirements, but the system doesn't see it because the metrics still look great. The dollar's reserve status. We've run deficits that would destroy any other nation. We've weaponized the financial system, and now countries are quietly settling trades one and one, building alternative payment rails, using Bitcoin as an escape valve. The signals are there, but the system is too successful to notice. Family offices. I see ultra high net worth families making the same mistake. They're managing wealth. They're managing to wealth, but not through disruption. Their portfolios worked for 20 years, so they keep the same allocations. Their advisors, you know what? Their advisors tell them what they want to hear. Their governance structures are designed for stability, but not really for survival. And they don't realize that the game has changed. Angelo, section 4. Kind of a three-generation question. Kind of what's keeping me up at night? We're entering a period of compounding disruption. AI is going to end humanity's monopoly on intelligence. Monetary excess is breaking currencies. Manufacturing is fracturing. Certainly here in the US, energy and food sovereignty are back. The families that survive won't be the richest, they'll be the most adaptive, but isn't it always that way? So ask yourself three questions. One, are you institutionalizing paranoia? Andy Grove, the late, great, I think late, but certainly the great Andy Grove, only the paranoid survive. That doesn't mean anxiety, it really actually means discipline. Do you have systems that force uncomfortable truths into the room? Or are you surrounded by people that simply tell you what you want to hear? Two, are you hiring? Cognitive diversity. If everyone around you sees the world the same way, you're building an echo chamber. And echo chambers are where Detroit paradoxes are bred. Three, can you tell signal from noise? Revenue is noise. Even profit can be noise. Are we solving the real problems? Are we learning faster than how the world is changing? Are we still necessary? Detroit was making billions right up until the moment that it wasn't. Section 5. Kind of, what does this mean for you? If you're managing a family office or building one, I'll tell you a cold, hard truth. The strategies that built your wealth in today's world over time won't preserve it. We're not in a normal cycle. This isn't 2008. This certainly isn't like the year 2000. This is a regime change. The rules are being rewritten. And the families that cling to old certainties will wake up. They will wake up one day and realize they're holding assets in the world that no longer values them. So what do? You need to do three things. One, a structural view of what's coming. Not a forecast, but really more of a framework. How do you think when the old maps don't work anymore? Two, a governance model built for adaptation, not committees that slow you down, but decision-making that kind of keeps you ahead. And three, a network of people who see what you see. Because in moments of transition, your peer group could be your survival advantage. In closing, well, here's what I'm building. I've spent decades studying how systems collapse and how families and family offices endure. I've watched patterns repeat. Well, I'm not that old to be there, but I've read them. Rome, Byzantine, the Dutch, the British, Detroit. And I've learned one thing. The survivors, again, aren't necessarily the strongest. They're the ones who saw it coming and took actions. And that's what I've created inside my SFO continuity, my family office framework, a coalition of families and leaders who refuse to be prisoners of their own success. We meet monthly, quarterly. I host all sorts of programs. We stress test assumptions. We build infrastructure, financial, operational, of course with me, philosophical, to navigate what's next. Not because we have all the answers, but because we're asking the questions, while everyone else is what I call managing their dashboards. And I'm excited to announce that I'll be going deeper into this Detroit paradox and its implications for families and their family offices at my Palm Beach Single Family Office Forum over 5 days, March 23rd through 27th, of course, obviously in Palm Beach. Now, if you remember, I'm going to see you there. We're going to work through this framework live. How to audit your own organization for those warning signals, how to build governance structures that survive regime change. And if what I said today resonates, if you feel a creeping sense that the old playbook isn't working, or at least isn't working optimally, well, join us over 5 days. Who else is doing that in beautiful Palm Beach? Because the Detroit paradox doesn't really announce itself. It just compounds quietly until the day the world realizes that you're no longer essential. And by then, effectively, it's too late. Don't let your success blind you. Let's build what comes next together. Everyone, I'm Angelo Robles. I'm the original founder and longtime CEO of FamilyOffice Association. I sold that. I now have a private intelligence and strategy group for a more intimate group of families called SFO Continuity. And that's how you could be a part of what I'm doing with my unique proprietary content, my monthly digital programs, my bi-monthly in-person roundtables, my quarterly masterclasses, and twice-a-year forums in Palm Beach and in New York. And that's not even factoring my lunches, soirees that I do in LA, Cayman Islands, Vienna, and this upcoming year in the Middle East. I'm going to bring this great cowboy hat, of course. So jump in, go to angelorobles.com and be a part of my SFO continuity. I updated a lot of the website, lots of new incredible content, a little bit more about the Palm Beach program. So you'll see a lot there. And join us, be a part of something special. In case you're wondering, that wind is real, it is very cold, my cowboy hat's going to be flying off. It is time for me to say goodbye. I hope you're all going to have a wonderful holiday as I'm recording this live, as we're getting closer here in the U.S. to the great holiday of Thanksgiving. I wish you all the best. Go to angelorobles.com and learn more today. Thank you.